I am here today to present to you our proposal for the 2026 City of Austin bond election. So as a part of the conversation, we'll be reintroducing ourselves to you all and just taking you through some of the work that we've done, as well as what is the work we would like to be doing on behalf of our partnership with the City of Austin. Before coming here today, I sent over an email to you all with some introductory information. We are in the process of building a new website that's going to provide quite a bit of additional information, not only about the organization and the projects that we've worked and what it is we aspire to be as an organization and a partner to the city, but I also provided a previous presentation that I made, as well as some presentations from city staff on similar information. So just so you know, you've got those resources there, and I'll point back to them through the course of this presentation. Rally Austin, initially known as the Austin Economic Development Corporation, was created in October of 2020. And it was a call to action from the community asking for a third party to be able to facilitate a number of programs, mostly focused on real estate, ownership, development, and how it is we would support inclusive outcomes throughout the community. Through this period of time, we've been able to assemble a number of different projects through a variety of different dollars, and I try to illustrate that in the presentation that I previously provided. But know that this is a community-driven entity. It was one in which the community rallied for. So we wanted to make sure that we honored that request from the community and the work that we do in the rebranding of the agency from Austin Economic Development Corporation. Again, we are focused on asset ownership, investments, real estate, and real estate development, as well as our partnership with the City of Austin. Our vision and mission very focused on equity, how it is we create more of these inclusive spaces around the city while continuing to invest in the place that is Austin, Texas. Sorry, I thought I heard a question. The focus here is to be able to think regionally more broadly, and you'll see that through the structure of our board. But we try to show or highlight our work in several categories: arts, music, and culture, a rally for complete communities, and then catalytic development. Our board, made up of a number of different institutions here within Central Texas that are similar asset holders or owners and have big impact in the work that we do here in Austin, but also within Central Texas. You've got a number of seats that represent the City of Austin that are from staff, but also from various commissions. And you'll see a bit of diversity across this board. We do regularly switch out our board members. I think you've got a 3-year term. So we've got really great representation from the community in the work that we do around real estate and development. The work that we've done to date, I wanted to provide you just a quick snapshot of what it is we've been able to achieve. We're in the process of stewarding a $160 million portfolio of assets that will look to secure 293,000 square feet of affordable space. And we break out what that looks like in terms of cultural space or affordable housing on this slide. Again, we wanted to show those outcomes within the 3 different rallies that we put all of our work or frame all of our work into for complete communities, arts, music, and culture, and catalytic development. For today's conversation, we're going to focus on the 2026 bond election. This is not a conversation about the 2025 election and the tax rate that is currently under consideration and to be voted upon in November in the coming months. This is a conversation about November of 2026 because there's quite a bit of work currently underway to get to that point. We want to make sure we've got community feedback and input on the proposal that we're recommending on Austin's behalf. We're going to go through a problem statement, our proposed solution, and then how it is our approach from an organization that's outside of the city can be most competitive and supportive to the organization and the city overall. You would have received a link to this presentation from city staff that brings you up to speed with the development of the process. I'm going to quickly go through some of those steps just so you understand why today is so critical in talking about November 2026. First, staff has been inventorying needs from across all different departments of the city. They've been meeting with a bond election advisory task force, which was created by mayor and council. I think each person put up 2 members to be a part of that task force. With that representation in place, you've had a number of presentations that have been made both from city departments and the community. I provided you a copy of our presentation, which focuses on the bond capacity that we were provided in 2018. So you can see how we delivered with those funds. An initial list of projects went out to mayor and council a matter of weeks ago, and then a second list came out that focuses on community packages, and Rally is a part of that community project idea submission, which only came out a couple of weeks ago. So the task force is looking at all of these different projects. The working groups are calling different departments or community groups in for more conversation. We're hopeful that we get called into one of those working groups for additional conversations about the proposal you'll see today. But ultimately, city staff is going to put forward a recommendation. BTIF will put forward their own recommendation. Staff will follow up with another recommendation, and then mayor and council will take all of that information into account as they start to decide what will and will not appear on the 2026 bond election. We start our conversation with stakeholders here. We ask those stakeholders, what does this evoke? I'm not going to ask you for your responses, but I will say in having those conversations with stakeholders across the community, it's a very interesting response. Some are excited. Some still enjoy this logo. Some see the connection. Some get angry. Some feel no connection at all, and some actually feel like this is no representation of them here in Austin, either any longer or ever at all. We bring this here to start the conversation. As we know, Keep Austin Weird was just a pitch, something said whenever Red Wassenich called in at a radio station saying we needed to keep Austin weird. He and his wife thought it was a really interesting concept. They created a website and some merchandise, Keep Austin Weird. It wasn't until the city looked to incentivize a major retailer, a big box here with a Chapter 380 agreement, that our local businesses banded together. They took that Keep Austin Weird moniker and then added support local business. And we think that's critical because it's a point that we can draw on where our identity as a city was so reflective of our values, right? What it is that makes us unique are small, local, iconic, legacy businesses here in Austin. Now, Riley Triggs came forward and said, because of the relationship between weird and cool, we're no longer weird. That has died. We've seen the community show this on a variety of ways, but ultimately you can fly through our own airport and pick up a T-shirt that says, "Rest in peace, Old Austin." And on that T-shirt, you're going to find some of our longstanding institutions that we were proud of as Austinites, Threadgills, local restaurants or businesses that we visited with our family, right? So it's not something to be celebrated. In fact, we know that this is an engine. We know that our creativity, our culture is what has retained so many individuals here, provided so many opportunities as well. And it's studied from everyone at UT under George Kosmetsky through major groups and associations like International Economic Development Council. We show you here, though, the impact of how it is the market is displacing a number of our creatives and making it incredibly difficult to be able to not only stay in market, but earn a living to then be able to stay within the market. As you can see reflected for our live music venues and especially our artists. What's at risk here because of commercial affordability impacts is the legacy of our city, is the ability to retain our competitive advantage as a city. And by maintaining weird instead of cool, we risk the ability to keep our tourism, our experience economy, and just the individuals that have been here reflective of this place for such a long period of time. So with that said, Rally Austin has come forward with the Keep Austin Hours proposal that we would like to thread into consideration for the 2026 bond. This offers us the ability to be able to seed a variety of different spaces that we think will help to elevate outcomes to be able to retain our identity and our competitive advantage as a city here. I'm going to break down each of these three verticals really quickly just to show you what the outcomes are like and to tell you exactly what we're looking to purchase to be able to get this done if approved by voters. Now, these three verticals are really great ways of showing the community the impact of the work collectively, but essentially it means that Rally Austin will be doing the same three things. One, it means we'll be looking at property acquisition, how we can be in control of sites that we own as a partner and a quasi-governmental agency that supports the city of Austin. The next is to work through capital improvements, either on the sites that we control or to be able to negotiate agreements, some like what you'll see today, to be able to maintain space for our local creative, cultural, legacy businesses within those locations. And the next is to continue turning to our partners here at the city, whether it's just within the departments or different programs, to be able to facilitate support so that we can maintain a pipeline of these agencies while we get Rally Austin's assets up and running to keep them here long term. You'll see that through best practices. The first, if you would have seen the first presentation, focused on the 2018 bond, we focus on the Austin Cultural Trust. You'll see the small number of funds that we were provided to be able to seed this cultural trust that started back in 2018 as requested by the community. We issued a solicitation after firming up what the Cultural Trust would do specifically for Austin, and with the response, we measured $350 million worth of need, with around or less than $30 million to be able to do that work. We understand the impact of our creatives here, especially the experience economy, something around $1.8 billion. In looking at best practices, I know this is a lot of information, but we're leaving it with you, and people actually really like to see the data. The catalytic and really the premier agency doing cultural trust work, not only here in America, but across the world, as studied by UNESCO or World Cultural Cities Forum, is CAST out of San Francisco. And these are two of the projects that they've recently secured. But CAST has been in existence for about 11 years, and over that period of time, we can see that they've been able to secure about 83,000 plus square feet of affordable creative space in the city. They've done that by securing something like 447 Mina, which is a multi-story space where creatives can come in, use it for rehearsal space, office space, a variety of different needs, but it's affordable, accessible, and available to them at all times. What's really great is looking at the second project just below it, which is where CAS was able to bring forward a property formerly owned by the city, establishing partners and drawing together a number of different funding sources, securing a total of 28,000 plus square feet for creative space, obviously becoming a hub for them, which is great. Chicago has a TERS in place in which they're able to support a variety of different grants or exchange agreements. Pittsburgh has a cultural trust that focuses primarily on a district, so not, as focused as we are in working around the city, but again, using that same type of structure. New Orleans I keep here because, as you know from that first presentation, we do receive a portion of hotel occupancy tax. However, they work with theirs indirectly, while we are looking to champion direct exchange and engagement. Here are 7 of the projects that we've been able to put on the boards to date, and we are looking to add new projects in the coming weeks and months to this list. But to tell you, over the course of the past 3 years, we've been able to secure 53,000 plus square feet of affordable creative space. This is done through a variety of ways. We have not gotten to control of a property yet. We are looking to be able to do that with revenues that are coming in and sustained funds for the Cultural Trust. And that is focus for our board as we move forward. What I do want to highlight, though, is that it's been 3 to 4 years since we've created this cultural trust and have started working with funds to execute this work. And in those 3 to 4 years, we've gotten 53,000 plus square feet. If we added in the additional 30,000 square feet that we're negotiating through our work on blocks 16 and 18 on East 11th, then we're just around 85,000 square feet like Cast was. So I say that not because it's a competition between us and the premier agency in the world, but we are and we have created something great. And that is attributed to this community's rally for tools and resources to be able to maintain our creatives in market. What we're suggesting through our Keep Austin Ours proposal is $80 million to be able to support property acquisition. Conservatively, we think that can get us 8 to 10 different sites here in Austin, securing an additional 100,000 plus square feet. In each of these slides, we break out the potential partners that we're going to pull to the table and the different funding sources that only an agency like Rally can bring to the table when partnering with public and private institutions, as well as our nonprofits. And then we show you just some measure of what it is we see for projected leverage of those projects by bringing in those private dollars, and then what it is it looks like in terms of economic benefit. Because within these exchanges and within these programs that we are seeding instead of just projects, there is no additional cost to the city. And that's what's really unique about being able to seed programs through Rally instead of some of the other opportunities that you have here within the city's bond proposal. We're looking at $50 million proposal for capital construction, again, not just for those 8 to 10 sites we're acquiring, but in being able to make other negotiations across the community. Loan and grant support, we'd like to continue working with the departments here, especially as ACME is being pulled together, looking at resources, so we can look at how it is we triage or create that pipeline of groups that are going to be going into those spaces that we have secured for long-term periods of time. Next is taking those lessons learned of doing these really small types of arrangements and looking at more of our commercial agencies here within Austin, how it is we can protect our legacy businesses here. By working with a great group like Preservation Austin, we've been able to dial into more information reflective of what it is we've learned through the commercial or the cultural trust to suggest the creation of a commercial trust, which is nothing new, again, being created throughout the nation. You've got some really great commercial trusts that are operating in larger cities and smaller cities as well, but they're securing those mom and pop shops. They're securing those restaurants that you enjoy with your family and friends on the weekend, right? This is separate and different from our cultural and creative space because we're focusing in on more of those small legacy businesses. We would keep our same definition for legacy business at 20 years, those who've been in operation and solely owned, as well as those who've been in the same location for 20 years. I hope that we have some opportunities to be able to work with the property owners or landlords to be able to structure those agreements. San Francisco has another premier program within this space, but they're working in more of an economic development capacity by being able to focus on an agreement between the business while also being able to focus on an agreement with the property owner or landlord. Chicago coming in with that TERS again, where they're providing $250,000 grants, and we're seeing across the nation a number of agencies or cities of our size that are cataloging their businesses. Unfortunately, they don't necessarily have any specified funding sources to turn to them quite yet. We would be a leader within that space. What we're requesting here is $20 million to work through property acquisition. Again, you can see the anticipated outcomes, partners, and leverage. Capital construction of $20 million to be able to support a variety of different upgrades, new features to support revenue generation while maintaining those spaces within our community, and working with a great department like the Economic Development Department here to be able to support triaging of our local legacy businesses to maintain them here as we bring more of these opportunities online. Finally, we're proposing an affordable workspace and affordable living space that is focused on our creatives. Again, those who are being pressed out or displaced from market because of these commercial affordability issues are most impacted when it is they have a difficult time making money here, especially having to pay so much to be able to live here. So we're seeing a number who are relocating. These projects look very simple when you think of workforce housing. And when you look at some of the buildings on the right-hand side of this slide, a few ideas might spark from some of the spaces that you've seen even within our own city. But you've got a number of different complexes like this that exist across the nation that provide living and working spaces in one single unit, or they provide shared accommodations for working space while providing affordable housing. In some cases, like what you see in New Orleans, spaces like these on the right side of the slide go for $160 per month. Imagine being able to offer our creatives that type of living arrangement here in Austin. Not saying it's going to be at $160 a month, but that's an incredible amount of affordability, very low, right, in terms of what it is they've been able to achieve. A group like ArtSpace, which is well known as a nonprofit developer or manager of these spaces, has done 60 of these arrangements. We'd like to work with them and attract them here back into Austin, as they're currently looking at Dallas as a market for new projects. Other cities across the nation are, again, putting in stipends, putting in grants to be able to support and offer more of what is needed for their creatives to be able to stay in market while addressing affordability in housing separately from the working space and working conditions, because not all artists can live and work in the same place. Property acquisition, we're looking at $46.5 million for our requests, and how it is that can potentially get us 3 to 5 sites. These are larger sites and a little more complex of an arrangement, but you can see here a much larger economic impact. Capital construction dollars being used primarily for gap financing to be able to support these projects. We believe we can get 50 to 100 affordable units for creatives to do their work and live here in Austin. But continuing to work with great departments here within the city of Austin and partner around some of those stipends to continue to support artists living and maintaining their space here in Austin while it is we bring online these arrangements, because it will take some time. The final full package for keeping Austin ours, we wanted to draw everything here together in one slide for our request of nearly $260 million and show voters exactly what it is we look to achieve with those dollars or with those investments over that 5-year period of time that we'd be looking to draw down these funds and reporting back to the city on the development. Now, I know $260 million sounds like a really big request, so I wanted to put that in context. Other major cities like Chicago were passing very large bond packages, something, around $1.25 billion, focused on very similar arrangements for workforce development, economic development, community development, and a part of the arts and culture being elements of that package. I keep Chicago here with the gold star because they've done exactly what it is I spoke about through the course of this presentation. They were able to turn internally and evaluate the programs that they currently have within their departments and inventorying or cleaning out some of those programs. They were then able to turn $1.75 billion of programming toward the package that was approved by voters. So when voters did approve this package in 2024, they not only approved $1.25 billion in terms of debt issuance, but $3 billion are going to be focused on these specific needs. Additionally, you heard me speak about TERS and TIFs and what they've been able to do with those dollars in terms of negotiations or agreements. Those TERS are going to be sunsetting incrementally, and they will then adjust their bonding capacity incrementally. So the voters will see no change in what it is they've been paying in their property bills over a period of time. I keep Dallas here as a benchmark because we're very focused on a lot of the work that's been coming out of Dallas. But you can see here a very similar package to what we provided. But Philadelphia is ultimately where we want to go. Philadelphia has the Philadelphia Industrial Development Corporation, which they seeded over 50 years ago, a very well-known and established organization. When COVID occurred and the city needed to mobilize quickly around their needs for economic development, affordable housing, community engagement, they turned to their agency like Raleigh Austin, and they immediately issued $400 million of debt to be able to get to work. They didn't have to wait for a bond. They didn't have to ask voters to put on masks and come out and vote to approve something. They turned to a financing partner that they had established for a long period of time, and they were immediately able to get to work on and behalf of the people of Philadelphia at that time. So again, long term, that is what the partnership between an agency like Rally and the city of Austin can provide. I just wanted to leave some information on established processes that we do have in place to be able to support these programs and equitable outcomes, and also to point to what it is we've been able to deliver successfully for 2 of our substantial projects to date. With that, if there's any questions, I would be happy to answer.